has started. Engine hydraulics at pressure. And stage 1 fuel is closed out. Falcon 9 is in self-align. Falcon 9 heaters closed out.
Dragon has transitioned to configure for terminal count.
Vehicle tanks pressing for strong back retract.
Strong back retract has started.
Stage 2 RP1 bleed. Stage 1 RP1 bleed. AFTS final setup started. MBAC igniter purges. Pogo bleed.
Dragon has transitioned to terminal count and is on internal power.
Stage 1 LOX load closed out. Vehicle is transitioning to internal power. Stage 2 LOX load is closed out. Propellant fills are complete.
Dragon is in auto idle.
Ground gas closeouts is starting.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in countdown.
FTS is armed for launch.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for foot.
Put on 79 Yankee Bridge.
2025 79 days to ground tank to kilo.
2377 on exit kilo going something around 597.
77 days to ground tank to be a Lima kilo 5 and hold short of kilo.
All right, welcome folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. It is 11 a.m. Central Time coming to you from the great state of Texas. It is 11/16/2022, and man, we got a lot to talk about today as we get into it. I'm not 100%, but I am definitely getting better and on the mend. So just got to get past the jet lag. My body is still on Israeli time, and I'm waking up around 2, 3 a.m., and yeah, it's a bit rough, but nonetheless, let's get into it for today. We're going to kick it off over here in Skyglass. I am tracking one right now that I don't know if that is Flashbang headed back across the drink. I will tell you it is one of the blue and whites, but it's got the MC46, which, by the way, they just changed the call sign number while en route. It was, I think it was 1386, and then it went to MC46 while in flight. Don't know why they do that, but it looks to be probably headed into Hano. If I had to guess, going to probably do a little fuel stop in there, stretch your legs a bit, you know. Now, this could be, you know, Joint Chiefs or, you know, somebody like that as well. So don't really know. I did see a Reach aircraft coming outbound out of Guam as well as this one. And so do not see the 47 as of yet. So again, this is probably Flashbang crew. We'll see. Nonetheless, let's get over here to CONUS. Let's take a look at what our numbers are looking like. Remember, we're just looking at the military aircraft only. And whoop, let me back that up a little bit because we're in a little deep on that. All right, so sitting currently at about 401 showing up right now, mil aircraft up, which is a little higher than normal. 250 is the average range. Of course, that's only the, I say the average number, but that's only over the U.S. Okay, so this, I do believe, is counting everything around the world. And nonetheless, it's a very active day, though, for the military. And it's a beautiful day here in Texas. So our Tex 2 numbers are going to be a little higher than usual. We pull this little list up, and you can see, let me expand that a little bit. Highest number, let's get into it. Tex 2. So we got 60 Tex 2s. Oh, it's interesting. We got 32 H60s up. That's a pretty good number. Normally 6 to 8 of those. And 33 tankers up right now. I will tell you, when I looked at the tankers, that number was not up. But of course, I was in the wee hours of the morning. So let's get over and take a look at the H60s that are currently up over the U.S. And you can see mostly East Coast centric. But again, that's a pretty high number. You don't see that many H60s. For those not familiar with the H60, it is the Black Hawk. Military primarily, but Homeland Security flies them, etc. So, all right, let's get into our numbers and take a look at what we've got up military-wise. Let's look at our watch list to kick it off. We're over Europe right now, and I changed the background just for today, just to kind of see if it's easier on the eyes, easier to see those threads. Now, it looks like we got some P8s. Those are going to be UK P8s doing a little work out there to the right side of the UK. Those are going to be sub-hunters, okay? Then we get over a little deeper. Let's see what we've got. That's one of your little spy birds, one of those civilian spy birds. All right. And then it looks like we've got, let's see, getting a little closer. Brio 68, again, that's one of those civilian spy birds. And R135, that's a British R135, running some of those routes. Looks like to the left of Moldova and to the left of, it's kind of over Constanta, it looks to be. And that's going to be that port located to the left side of the Black Sea. Now, let's see, get over and to the United States. And I got a little Homeland Security down there on the Texas border. We're going to talk about them here a little more in a minute. A little E6 just getting airborne out of the center of the United States. Those are Takamos. And let's see, get a little further up the coast here. A couple P8s, P3s, and got a B703 running some routes there over Warner Robins in Texas. I'm sorry, in Georgia. And then, and then it looked like we had a one of the little L-135. That's going to be the Phoenix Airbirds. Don't see them too often. There's Air Force Two, and then a secondary blue and white as well. So I don't know who's on the other one, but Air Force Two, that would be Bob Marley. And nothing over Japan, so we can just let that rest. All right, let's get into the heavies. Now you can see a little bit of work there going on in Portugal and Spain area. A lot of stuff down by the Toa, Italy, and then into the Mediterranean. Then we got, looks like something coming in and out of Jordan, which is kind of seeing that a little more frequently. Again, I don't know why they're not bouncing in and out of Haifa, Israel, but there is a reason for it, I'm sure. Got a little C-130 work, C-17, something doing some little bit of leg work there over Poland. In terms of routes. Now, that could be a C-130 doing air refueling because they do have that capability as well. And you can see it's not as busy as it has been in the past. And then let's get over to the United States. Really light. You can see some of those long trace strings coming in from the Pacific side of the house. Some of them Hawaii, some of them Guam. Pretty deep. Now, depending if it's C-17, Globemaster, they got the range to do all that. Looks like a little flurry coming out of Charleston, South Carolina area, kind of on the coast. That's kind of that. And we get into the refuelers. Like I said, we got 33 up right now, but that was not the case when I recorded this. You can see just a couple, one over Florida, over East Coast. Not too much really to speak of. Get over to Europe because it's a lot later there, obviously. And let's see if we got anything going on as it is thinking. That is good coffee. All right. Yeah, we just got a couple there. Looks like it's over kind of the Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, that kind of range. And then a couple things over Italy. Not really much to speak of in terms of air refuelers, okay? Now, check this out. When I was looking earlier, I did take a look at the wee hour. This is about 3:30 a.m., by the way. Just wanted to show you all the camber flights that were up. We're going to look closer at the camber flights here in just a minute, but this is going to be pretty much troop movers, okay? But you'll notice we got 6 of those bad dudes up over Europe and over, just in general over on the other side of the drink there. So it's very active in the wee hours of the morning. So we're going to look closer at that here in just a second. Let me jump into our map again. I do want to take a closer look at the tankers that are up, the 33 tankers up. Okay. That's the beauty of this tool. Just pop the list open and just click a few buttons and you filter it all out. So we'll give it just 1 second. my computer is thinking, so we'll let that run. It's because I hit the trace. And if you know anything about the traces, I'm going to be showing 24-hour traces, but they go in 5-second increments. And when you do that, it kind of bogs my system down. Even though I've got a gaming computer, it still is quite taxing. So, yeah, check this out. I mean, this is pretty recent. And you'll notice we got a little bit of flow over here, center of Florida, a little bit of stuff going on down in the Panhandle. That's probably pilot training related. Some stuff here over kind of Yuma and that general area. That's probably also tied to a red flag. Same with this. These are little running those air refueling tracks. This is a good indicator, though, when you see that. We got a lot of fighters up, okay? And they seem to be all the way across the U.S., right? Okay. Now, let's break away from Skyglass for now, and let's get into the meat of stuff, right? Now, I haven't looked at this in quite some time. We do have a very active volcanic stuff going on. You've got Simaru, and then you got a couple here over Japan, okay? And then you got this one up in Russia. That one's got a pretty good ash cloud spewing. And then from pretty much Mexico all the way down to South America, I think is hopping. So what I would recommend you do, if you don't do this, go follow Dutch Sense, and you'll see the correlation between this volcanic activity and the stuff that he's showing right now. I know we've got a lot of earthquake activity going on, some big ones too. But Dutch is your guy for that. So I highly recommend getting over and following him, and you will be in the loop. And all of this right here will start to make a lot more sense. Okay. All right. Let's get over and see what our Gestapo is up to. Looks like they dropped the crew off in Huntsville, Alabama, back to DC. So we'll see where they go from there. But let's get to the other piece of this. We have been tracking, as I mentioned, and I'm going to get into some of the detail right now. So this is United Airlines, and I haven't been able to figure out the relationship to Kingston, Jamaica, other than Bob Marley, right? But they have been flying very regularly this just a repeated route into Guantanamo Bay. Very unusual, and it doesn't really show up on the board as in Guantanamo Bay with all the related flights, right? It's just basically one little United flight coming in. It says Jamaica, right? So, but that's it. If you kind of peel the onion a little, you can see started out in March, Air Force Base or Air Reserve Base, Topeka, Kansas, Biggs Army Airfield, Harry Reid in Vegas, and then it went from the next thing you know, it is this is on the 15th. Like I said, these are kind of spread out from September, November, but this is now you get Jamaica into Guantanamo Bay, and the flight numbers change and roll, but this is a sequence that we're seeing on a pretty regular basis. So this one is just remember, this is tied to United Airlines and the flights. I just wanted to show you that this United Airline flight has been pretty active. But again, they roll the flight numbers, and so it'll be a different one coming in, but it does show up in Guantanamo Bay on a very frequent basis now. So I don't know what's going on. Definitely an uptick. Again, and we've got them coming out of Houston as well, right? Into Jamaica and into this one. So again, it's just another data point for you. But nonetheless, very odd to say the least. Now, let me point this out. We were looking at the heat vest the other day, and I said something's fishy about this one. We see an uptick at Guantanamo Bay that's outside of the regular rotation, 3-month rotation. I usually see about 3 aircraft come in, rotate troops, and then that's about it. And you'll see it again every 3 months. This time, the number is 5x that. Okay, so like I said, they are staffing up here for some reason, and I don't know the correlation to Jamaica quite yet, but maybe we'll figure it out. All right. But I want to show you the map. I did go in and I started putting together just all of the aircraft that are coming in and out of Biggs Army Airfield. Now the yellows are going to be inbound destinations. Okay, notice they're scattered all over the United States. So it is not tied to immigration, in my opinion, because if it was, most of that's going to be border stuff. Okay. Now, so the yellows are flights that originate and go to Biggs. And then the purples are flights that come out of Biggs. Notice they are coast to coast. They're all over the place, right? You've got them all the way up to Portland, Oregon. You've got them several down in Los Angeles, which is a pretty big city, San Diego, etc. And then you've got them all over Salt Lake City, the Dakotas. I mean, they're all over the United States. And then I actually started looking because something didn't seem right. Now, these little ones that are in the purple are 737s, right? Hold about 200 butts in the seat. But then I started looking at the board closer and noticing that even some of the 757s were headed to an internal domestic location. Now, originally, if you didn't have this other activity, I would probably think, okay, these are people coming inbound. They've been deployed. It's a troop rotation. They're coming in and then they're being, sent to their home location. However, the inbounds don't match that. Okay. Normally the inbound would be an Omni flight, or it'd be, Atlas Air, and it would come from Shannon or somewhere across the drink directly in to either Fort Worth Alliance or something along those lines. Okay. These are not. These are coming in from other locations like the yellows, and then they're headed out to other additional spots, even all the way down here into Puerto Rico, Jacksonville, and it's not Naval Air Station; it's just Jacksonville. But there are, like I said, this is a roll up of maybe 30 days, and you can just see them. They're coast to coast, and so they're either troop deployment or they're civilian contractors that are being deployed. But when you look at this data and you bundle it in with the data that we get relative to those heat vests, and just something doesn't feel right about all this. And I don't know what, but you know what? At least at a minimum, we're forewarned. Sorry, and so forewarned is forearmed, right? So it gives us the ability to at least have a plan. If they start some crazy shenanigans, you at least kind of have an idea what you're going to go do, right? So, but nonetheless, very odd data point. We need to be paying close attention to it. So, all right, now pay attention to this one too. And I find this very interesting. Trump announces his 2024 presidential bid. The reason this is interesting is because this is 2 years out, folks. Very unusual. Most of them are within a year or get inside the window of a year. Announcing 2 years out is pretty uncommon. Okay. Now, I had heard several years ago that when somebody announces an official bid for presidency, they can't be arrested. I had heard that. Now, I don't. That's assuming that our government and the Gestapo play by the rules. We know they don't. But I think this is a chess move to prevent an arrest, or at least attempt to prevent an arrest. Again, I still think they're going to come after him. I still think they're going to try to arrest him at a minimum. But I think this early announcement 2 years out is hedging that they would actually follow the laws. And that's the only reason I can think of why he would do it 2 years out. Okay. So we'll keep our eye on it. Now, I have heard several people tell me also as we get over and we look at the TFR that's over his residence. Some people said, oh, it's because of the wedding last weekend of his daughter. And then somebody else said it had to do with last night's event for his announcement. And then I know he's got something coming up in December. That's some big event. But let me just say this. Normally, if they do something like that, the window on those TFRs, because it's a security TFR, is very short. They'll do it over the event. It may bubble a week or in either direction, plus or minus. And so even if we said, okay, you had something November 12th, they posted it Halloween, that's fine. And then you got something going on in December and you let it run to January. This TFR actually runs to May of next year, that's the unusual part. Because that tells me it's not necessarily tied to the things that have been going on. And so we'll just keep our eye on it. I don't know. But you would have a security TFR over those events if they requested it. There's no doubt about that. A wedding, whatever it may be, no doubt about it. But it wouldn't be a 7th month TFR. Okay. All right. Back that little dude up. Let's get over here. And by the way, I'm tickled pink that he's running. I'll be honest with you. I love the dude. I think he's great. Like I always say, don't put your faith in man, put your faith in Jesus Christ, right? You'll never be let down. So I don't think they're going to let him get to this. I really don't. Just too much to risk for the other side. So, okay. Now, here is one for you. We're going to take a look at the flights as of over the last 3 days. But I do want to point out, Arizonans no BS when they see it. And that says that Lake is defiant as AP calls the governor race for Hobbs. And this is your key takeaway. All right. Now, notice the spread on this is extremely thin. It's going to cause a runoff. There's no doubt about it. 50.4 to 49.6. Especially coming out of that area, they just have too many issues to call a race that close. Okay. But here is your key. All that's left to count is Maricopa County. The ballots are requiring manual scrutiny because of defects. Yeah, that tells you all you need to know, but it doesn't really, because I'm going to tell you all you need to know. All right, I'm going to pop this up here. We're going to take a look at what has happened in the last 3 days over Arizona. And as you can see, yeah, they're up to it again. There you go, your shenanigans. Man in the middle, right? That becomes a cell tower. That's if you have dirt box. And oh, by the way, it's got a 20-mile radius for dirt box. So all you got to do is be within 20 miles, anything within 20. That's pretty much a catch-all. So then if they got Stingray, they can not only capture data, they can push data, right? So there's your key takeaway. But you can see this is in the last 3 days, additional flights right over Maricopa County. All right. The shenanigans. Okay. Flashbang. Let's see what this dude is up to today. I saw some beautiful word salad coming out of him from the event that he was just in. Embarrassing. I got to tell you. It's actually, in my opinion, senior abuse. These guys, he should not be president. And you can see, you go back to the time that he was in the debates to now, and the wheels have just come off. His mental capacity is gone. It really is. All right, so it looks like he was departing Bali, Indonesia, headed to Guam, and then looks like he's jumping into Hawaii, which matches with the flight data that we just looked at. And then, of course, he's going to end up back here at Andrews Joint Base, 11:40 p.m., right? So let's take a look at his greatness here, and let's see what is going on with the economy. You can see I haven't talked too much about the economy lately because we've been focused on so many other elements. But this, you may remember that Amazon and Target Boutique had basically canceled orders. Walmart and Target Boutique had canceled like $2 billion in orders because they couldn't get the stuff in. They didn't want it on their books. And then Amazon, over a whole quarter, laid off almost 100,000 people, I think. And so this is interesting. Now, this says that they're planning significant layoffs. Amazon is planning to cut 10,000 jobs, the largest layoff in the company's history. And that's getting ready to happen. Like I said, they basically either laid off or deferred or canceled 100,000 spots over 3 months. But this looks like they're actually getting ready to cut 10,000 people. Now, the key to this, and the reason this is important is because this is a time of season when people are hiring temps to basically help handle the load for the holiday season. And so the fact that they're cutting jobs, 10,000 jobs, and not hiring 10,000, that's a pretty big data point for you, okay? The other piece, too, is FedEx is about to begin a 90-day driver furlough, and they say that's of course, FedEx is the largest LTL carrier in the U.S. Another key indicator that we are economy is in the tank, folks. Not good. Again, these 90 days are starting in December. You go talk to FedEx, you talk to UPS, you talk to the guys that, they usually have runners because their loads are so heavy. They can't, they're working 12, 14 hours a day just trying to keep up with it. The fact that these guys are laying off, just like Amazon laying off, is a very big indicator that our economy is in the toilet. All right. And so we're just being lied to. All right. Now, here's your Bohica moment. Ukraine situation report. White House seeks another $37 billion for Kiev. And this will bring the total U.S. aid for Kiev this year. It's going to top $100 billion. So, yeah. And this is, looks like this is a C-17, maybe. Maybe it could be a C-130. Hard to tell. But it looks like you got some artillery loaded into this bad dude, headed across the drink. So, yeah, $37 billion more for our agencies to try to stave off the inevitable. So, nonetheless, $100 billion. Think of what that would do to our economy. Think of what that would do for our war, because it's coming. If you had to put that stuff into the field and throw money at it. So, all right, now here's one for you. You may have seen yesterday, I saw a lot of folks that were saying, things about to go hot. It says that this Poland missile strike may have actually come from a Ukraine self-defense, and that's coming from U.S. officials. Yeah, that actually was the case. Flashbang announced it this morning. And that is, not a shocker. Like I said, you remember MH17 got shot down. The problem you have when you start deploying foreign assets into a country that has different languages and they're not necessarily trained on it, or they are trained, but they get the crash course and training, is that you have accidents, right? This right here could have actually triggered World War III because had they not done the due diligence to figure out where that missile came from, Poland could have easily responded, and then it would have gone hot. Luckily, they called a meeting, and like I said, as long as the U.S. isn't engaged in it, NATO is not going to do anything because we are pretty much NATO. All right. So anyway, eyes on it. We'll continue to watch it, but looks like that was a little bit of a blue on blue kind of thing. So. All right, now check this one out. Invasion clause triggered in Texas as migrants overwhelm the border. Looks like Abbott, who, by the way, just won re-election. Thank God we don't have a Beto running Texas because this would all go away. But looks like he's about to deploy more National Guard to the border to repel and turn back immigrants. And then he's got the Texas DPS, state troopers, to arrest and return immigrants. Let's see how it goes. They're going to be building a wall in multiple counties on the border, deploying gunboats. That'll work. Designate Mexican drug cartels as a foreign terrorist organization. Duh. I'm surprised that hasn't already been done. And and enter into a compact with other states like Arizona, New Mexico, etc., to secure the border, and agreements with foreign powers to enhance border security. So we're going to be talking to Mexico and probably some of the other countries where they're coming from. So nonetheless, we are being invaded, and we already knew that. It's amazing that we're just now only getting to this, really. All right, let's get into ForeFlights. Take a look at the NOTAMs and what we got going on today. You can see we had a big box out here that was basically looked like a missile launch. We've got something going on over Hawaii. Let's see what that is. That's for today and tomorrow. And not a lot of detail behind it. So don't know what that's all about. But anyway, nonetheless, we've got the box to the left side of Hawaii. You think maybe some missile launch stuff going on from Hawaii. I don't know. And over the U.S., not really seeing anything new. We do have some other boxes here. Look to be military operations. Keep an eye on it. And wonder how that correlates with my map. All these mill operations. You see, I got quite a bit of mill operations triggering here. NOTAMs. Go back to the map. Does it look like it matches? Or at least somewhat close? Maybe. So you start kind of dialing that in and looking at that compared to the NOTAM, and seems like it could be close, a little bit close, very similar at least. All right. Again, data point, but nonetheless, there's your map, and these look to be all mill exercises. Let's see what this one is right here. Mill operation. Okay, well, there's that. A lot of stuff going on. It's for this time of year, it's kind of unusual. And then we get over here to this side into Europe, and this is just one big hot mess. Got something going on over Italy. Overfly prohibited and temporary RA. So that is a big dome because that covers all of Italy. And we get over here to Black Sea, and you can see there's only a little sliver in and out. Now, I did notice that we don't seem to have the reconnaissance going across the Black Sea aspect of this that we've seen in the past. And so if we get into, let's just take a look at the R135s, for example. As you look at this map, you can kind of see where it kind of correlates, right? So with the R135s looking over the United States, again, we had something weird out off of the southern coast of California down into Baja. Again, R135, they can track an object the size of a soccer ball from 300 miles away. Pretty impressive. The little something north there up towards the border. That one's not really a normal thing. Hey, they're not flying over Trump's house, so that's kind of a good thing because that's what happened last time. All right. Nothing really down south. All right, let's get over to Europe. There's our R135s. Remember, they in the past have been flying over the Black Sea, but you may remember it looks like it's just that little section over Cordova. All right, and then that right there over southern France side of the house. Constanta, not Cordova. Sorry. And then we got a little bit of work there just outside of Israel, over coming out of Cyprus and then down over the Middle East there. So that's your R135s. But you may remember we actually had an R135 where he was flying out over the Black Sea, probably penetrated this area here or got pretty doggone close to it. And one of the Russian fighters actually fired a shot, a missile, in his direction. He wasn't locked on, but it was enough to get his attention when they see a missile go streaking by, right? So let's take a look at our sub hunters. And you'll see very busy. Of course, this is the last 3 days, so we don't have any hurricane data in there where they're trying to get in and out. But just notice that they are kind of all over the United States. A lot of work off of the East Coast, Cape Canaveral, that general area. We see that. It's kind of common. And yeah, you can see, right, just kind of in that area. Like I said, that one's kind of normal. This one's pretty far off the coastline of Norfolk. And so that's going to be, we've been watching that already. So we also saw the Tacomos. Yeah, we saw the Toyota Tacomas out there. But yeah, the Tacomos were actually out off of those coastlines too. So we know we've got U.S. subs on both coasts right now, okay? And then, of course, the UK, we were looking at that again this morning. They're running routes up there too. So now let's get over to the drone side of the house. And it looks like we got some stuff going on. That's kind of in the Yuma area, I think. And we get over here to the East Coast. And we've got one that looked to just kind of above Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Just kind of up and down. That's going to be your Q9, Q4 drones, by the way. And then normally we get out and we see a lot of drone activity coming out of Malta headed into the Black Sea. Not really seeing that. It is very, very quiet, which is unusual. Very unusual because normally that Forte flight is out there. Now there is one that was up, little Q4, but it was actually headed down towards the North African coast there, just to the left side of Tripoli. And then you can see the other one kind of buzzed up over the Poland area, probably trying to assess where that where that missile came from, and then back down. But that's it. I mean, it's really very quiet from a reconnaissance standpoint over that general area. Now we get into the civilian stuff. That's and again we'll kind of roll back on this. There's one coming out of I think that's Nevada, not 100%. Kind of no, Phoenix it looks like. And then we get over to the East Coast, and you can see civilian work being done over kind of the Northeast or DC general area. But the reason that's important is because our government has engaged the civilian companies because their capability is better than our government's in some cases, right? And so, and rather than wait for the modification or the money to get approved to do it, they basically just go out and hire a contract aircraft. So it looks like we had one up there in the Baltic region again, and then this one here that's just kind of flying around. That's coming out of Bulgaria, which we've got a lot of troops and bases over there. So, okay, make sure I covered those. I did. We got it. All right, let's move on. All right, let's take a look at the NATO ships, see if we've got anything new going on out here as we get down to it. Now, the other day, it was very active out here and still continues to be active. Still got a lot of stuff in the ports, which that'll kind of tell you right there that they are they're not really ready to go to war. Now, there's a little NATO warship. This is a Kaliningrad right here. It looks like we got 2 or 3 NATO warships sitting out off the coast there. Again, this is Russia, right? Russian territory. Got a warship there, so we kind of got them all the way around. And but these sitting in port, you like to see them come out of port. You don't want them sitting if things go hot. I don't know. Kind of feels weird right now that there's really not too much going on. Russia continues to blast Ukraine, but nothing else outside of that, you know. U.S. government vessel, that's probably a warship of some type, but most of these are going to be fire boats and Coast Guard because everything else is pretty much deployed until you get over here to this side. Yeah, same thing. All right, that's going to be your NATO ships. And let's take a look. We're going to get into this piece of it. Let's go over to our map and just take a quick gander at what's going on in the Ukraine. And you can see those blue dots, again, a massive barrage of rocket attacks or missile attacks from Russia, coast to coast. And so we're going to read about that right now in the war zone. But you can see big effort going on right now. You get over to the headline here from the war zone. It says, massive Russian missile barrage plunges much of Ukraine into darkness. Our map would indicate that is an accurate statement. You can see some buildings on fire. Yeah. Wild. All right. Now, here's the next thing. Ukraine is now ruling out a ceasefire talk with Russia to end the war. It's kind of funny. I guess maybe he feels confident that he's getting so much money from the U.S. His bank account is fat. And you know what? He's making money off of this. So, why have it end? Why have talks, man? This is, he's not getting hit. His people are, but he's not. So just keep it going, right? All right. Here's your Bitdefender again, month 2. And we are just getting peppered. This is our Star Wars map. Yeah, you can see it. It's just endless. Okay, let's get into Biggs. Let's talk a little bit about it. Now, I showed you the data in the map and how it correlates. Again, we've got these flights. This is arriving. This is going to be Allegiant. This is going to be now. This is coming out of Memphis. This is Atlas Air, and which is interesting. Memphis is actually a FedEx hub, not an Atlas Air hub. But you got a 747-400 coming in, and then you've got this Allegiant coming in from Alliance. Or sorry, not Alliance. Phoenix. But let's see where they're heading outbound. This one's headed to Bismarck, North Dakota, and this one's headed to Bangor, Maine. Again, I've already got those updated on the map. And then here are your heavies. This is what you do expect. Omni 777 coming out of Anchorage. That's going to be troops, right? This United Airlines flight coming in from San Francisco. That's a 777 300 ER, which is extended range. What that stands for. That's home operations more than likely for United. that could be coming in empty. Okay. But from there, you can see it's going to Nuremberg. All right. So it is headed across the drink. That's what you expect wide body wise. And then this one I find interesting. This is an Eastern airline, 767-300. It's a big bird coming in from Alexandria. Okay. Now we know Alexandria is a 72-hour holding facility. And so that's a big bird though. And coming inbound from there. Don't see it on the exfil board yet. And then of course that Atlas Air is headed to Frankfurt, right? Across the drink. Troops. Of course. Okie doke. Moving on. This is going to be Poland. Let's see if we got anything going on here that is catches my eye. Nope. Not seeing anything on the board from a U.S. perspective. Departure-wise, same thing. Let's see who that one is. Allianz Airlines, Belgium. Nah, I don't know. All right. Yeah. Very quiet from a U.S. perspective. Don't see any camber flights. And so let's go over here to Ramstein, see if maybe they've changed that. You know, maybe Poland is just at max capacity. So now they've got to start rotating stuff over to Frankfurt and to Ramstein maybe again. So here's your camber flight coming in from Baltimore, Washington. That's what you expected from Dover, right? Tick the box. That's exactly what you expect to see. Then from there, it's headed to England, and this one is destination unknown and near. Don't know where that is. Another camber flight. So we got 3 camber flights rolling out of Ramstein. So that's probably deploying troops. And we get over to Guam. Now I did have this reach that we got several reach inbound. We had this one near Saipan. Camber flight 747-400 and an Atlas Air going into Yokota Air Base. And then notice too, we got a couple en route coming. This one is actually a G5 coming from Seattle. That's a little weird. And this FedEx bird coming from Anchorage. That one right there. These are the kind of flights you get your guys coming in that are kind of below the radar. They don't want to be seen. Your Pelosi's of the world, so to speak, right? And then it looks like the scheduled departure, we got an Omni headed to Hawaii. And then this one, interesting. So it comes in from Seattle into Guam and then leaves there and goes to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Right? Just goes to show you the range also on that G5. You're talking Guam. That is to the middle of the United States. It's a pretty impressive capacity for a little bird like that, isn't it? All right. Camber flights. Still got 6 more on the board. These are probably different. Yeah, they're definitely different than the ones I showed you earlier this morning. But you can see you got them leaving Ramstein, England, Monterey, California, Cologne, and near Cairo. All right, all moving out. So these are usually your troop movers, okay? So in addition to the ones we already looked at, there's another 6. Rolling. Here's your Omnis. Again, troop movers. You can see 3 of them coming into the United States from across the drink. And then you got one leaving Seattle and one leaving Anchorage coming inbound. So, again, Anchorage to Biggs. Expect to see that, right? That's kind of the normal. Shannon to Washington Dulles, same thing. And then this one into Alliance, right? So, take the box. That's what that's what we're looking for. It's what you're expecting. So, now those could be troop rotations, but they are not associated with the ones we already tracked, bagged, and tagged on our map, okay? Right. Here are the Brits. Looks like this one is headed out here to a little destination in the middle of the Atlantic. From Charleston, it's going to be landing at Terceira Island. So that is one of our locations where I believe there is a prison there, but they don't talk too much about it. So. And then this one's coming out of Cyprus. And the Navy, we had believe it or not, very active at 3 a.m. It is not so active right now. I got one flight. Looks like that's near Scotland or coming out of near Scotland. So northern UK. Looks to be headed southbound and it's on the descent, 25,000 feet at 381 miles an hour. Okay. Last up, the Ruskies. Now, this board was actually very busy early in the morning. It has since let down a little bit. We've got 2 flights coming out of Moscow, and then this one is it's just giving me longitude and latitude. So, nonetheless, one of these actually was in Belarus earlier. This looks like it is maybe starting to land up here in St. Petersburg, but it was in Belarus earlier. All right. I think we have covered everything today. Again, we'll keep our eye on the stuff going on in and out of Biggs. Something seems not right about all of that. Don't know what it is. We're going to continue to monitor it. But like I said, significant uptick in the last 30 days, domestic movement. So we could have troops being moved very quietly throughout the U.S. As you can see, when we first started, it was just a couple little peppered on the West Coast and onesie twosies on the East Coast. And now, as you look at this map, it is definitely coast to coast. And let me see here. Like I said, you can just look at that map and tell. It just something ain't right here, folks. I'm just telling you, doesn't make any sense. And I've been tracking Biggs for quite some time. So that is coast to coast. It's either troops or contractors, one or the other, but it definitely doesn't feel right. So, all right, listen, that's going to be our SITREP for today. Sorry, I went a little bit long. My voice held out. Thank you, Jesus. And I will keep you guys up to date. We will do our Friday live, first one in a while. So I'll see you guys then. Keep that powder dry and stay frosty. We'll talk soon. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworksus.com.